Not sure if it went, but hi everybody. Oh,
See numbers going at the top.
the numbers are going at the bottom. Yes, Mom. So we're here to talk about today. Flash 800, Gun Slinger 19, and Gun Slinger 20, and Justice Society number 4. Well, let's start with the one I enjoyed the most. Justice Society. I enjoyed that 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 fact this is its opening story arc. And for that reason, they're finding their bearings. And it's only going to get better from here. I enjoyed that Fredegaton is trying to do a ritual to prevent himself from dying. And we found out why he has to kill, why he's been killing Dr. Fate first. Why he has to do it in that certain order, you know? It's part of the ritual. And can be hurt still. Helena hurts him. Doesn't kill him, just hurts him. And you find out he's working for an older version of himself. I still think Rip Hunter's gonna save his ass. Or I came up with a new speculation for this particular issue. The group he forms, because they establish he's trying to form a group, could be the Time Stealers. The guys that Booster used to give Booster Gold a royal headache. You know? The Black Beetle, Dagon, and Predagaton, and Booster Gold's father. It'd be nice to see those guys again. I enjoyed that they did Repunish Chalkboard without doing a Repunish Chalkboard. When Madame Xanadu like glitches out there for a few minutes, doesn't die, glitches out there for a few minutes, and like just starts predicting stuff that you know that they're gonna pay off some of it in the future. That's what Rip Hunter's chalkboard was. It was he would have stuff written down on the chalkboard, and you'd go back issues later, and be like, that pays off to this, this pays off to that, if that makes any sense. And I still think they're leading up to Jay Garrett getting his daughter back. And that's going to be a big storyline in the future after this finding our legs story concludes. Well, on to another series that I think is still finding its legs. And it's, well, at least at, at least 20 issues in, and it's still a good book. And I've been dividing that up into sagas. I am, of course, talking about Gun Slinger Spawn. This, I don't remember reviewing on the channel. This is the end of the Angel Saga, because I couldn't find a name for the actual story. The end of the Angel Saga and beginning of the Time Falling Apart Saga. The End of Time Saga. The story where he gets to ride a dinosaur. Um, I like that he takes out the angels in this one, and you don't hear from them again at all in this. This is more of a reference to a character that I hadn't heard of because I didn't pick up a certain amount of issues. But she summons dinosaurs, and who doesn't love dinosaurs? Really, I ask you. And if Justice Society ends up being half as good in their second storyline as this book, they might have a very enjoyable book on their hands. I was gonna say phenomenal, but it takes a lot of steps to be very phenomenal. Taylor finally freaks out in 20 here. Taylor really wasn't in 19, but he's been through a lot. Has every right to freak out in 20. He finally says, I've had enough. And then the villain apologizes to him. Keep in mind, this is the villain. We find out at the end it's Clown's daughter. What about the Brightons? The Bright guy? Okay.
It's what?
The Bright?
Yeah, let me check.
On to the 800th issue of Flash. The book you all came here to see. But before that, I do have a bit more I'd like to say about the JSA. The cover might have happened in some parallel timeline, but at the same time, yeah, it doesn't outright happen. Like I said, when Predagaton was fighting them, he gets a finger shot off, changing time. Well, that was right around the time that he was going to use a kryptonite ring on Power Girl. So maybe the cover did happen in some parallel universe. They show that Dr. Fate, which I thought was really cool, sees them all die at some point in some timeline. Justice Society would still get pick of the week if I did picks of the week. Like I said, my ratings for these really don't matter. I would like more of my suggestions to be taken, but the ratings and the scores, I take the very Drew Carey approach, except with very select ones. Anyway, now on to the Flash, which let's start with the cover. The cover says a celebration of Wally West, not the Flash, not Bart Allen, not Barry Allen, Wally specifically. Um, the first story kind of reminded me of a Batman episode where the whole of the villains are trying to play poker, just have a nice night off, and Killer Croc says something. I got him with a rock, and then the other villains all look at him. It was a big rock. If you've ever seen that meme, the first story felt like that. The second story, I was happy that they aren't going to ruin Thawne's happy ending. They're going to bring in Wally West Flash's Reverse Flash Zon, but um let's see how to put this. It stops. We weren't sure if it it was continuing into the next story after that. I said yes, Mom said no, but I think she was right because the story after that really had more to do with Mirror Master. Let's see. What am I missing? Oh, and the Bart story. I forget the Bart story. The Bart story where the punch where the punchline is delivered in the poker game story. Because I don't remember the Batman episode they're ripping off its name. At the end, the whole Bart story felt like a big joke. And a joke you've shared with a friend a million times. You know, like, it's just rib ticklingly funny. The Bart story brought me back to those younger days where I read big boy comics and everything was just bright and sunny. And they even went as far to say it was part of the Impulse story. They tell told you the point that it fit in as well. You know, they were like, okay, it belongs here, but one joke in it kind of did get me. They said, yes, Impulse had his own series, Ask Your Parents. I'm like, I don't need to ask my parents. That was one of the books I picked up when I was young. I picked up Impulse, and I got the rest on eBay when I finally got older. I I I picked up maybe the occasional Impulse. I had missing numbers, but I remember enjoying the series. I lived through that, and to see myself be put in the Ask Your Parents group, that was like, ow. Um, that and the last story had in common that they focused on Mirror Master. It was kind of weird now that I think about it. I mean, the Barry story, the Iris story didn't focus on Mirror Master. And then there was the one that I already told you about that focused on what they're going to do with the Reverse Flash. Yeah. And those two focused on Mirror Master, which was, yeah, there was no giant Cthulhu monster. My friend at the comic book store was wrong, but at the same time, was it was still a good book in parts. Just the fact that the Bart Max story made my sides, and it made me go back down to when I was a young wee baby Bob. You know, it was, yeah, it made me happy, I guess you'd say. And I also liked, you didn't have to pick up, I did, but you didn't have to pick up most of the 700s. You didn't have to pick up most of the prior issues. And I'm not even sure you had to pick up those Impulse. I mean, yeah, we could have just picked this up on its own and been good. But, yeah, as someone who feels they should focus more on Bart, I'm still kind of let down by it being a celebration of Wally West. Jay Garrick has his own thing going on in here, in the Justice Society. But didn't get brought up at all. Like I said, they ripped off a Batman episode. They showed that the villains were all afraid of the Flash, and then he shows up at the end. And then they had various other. It was four other stories. Yeah. So, um, I'd give it about a 3. It didn't have. How to put this? It it was because I picked up all those books and I felt that I put in a lot of work. And it kind of let me down. But at the same time, like I said about her 3. So, if that makes any sense. A book that's starting, a book that's in the middle, and a book that's at its end. No, I won't be picking up 801. I might pick up 900, but I ain't picking up 801. I don't want to see. This book didn't make me want to see what happens next. Spawn and Justice Society both did. They're gonna turn Mirror Master into some monster or not. But there's always gonna be a 4th Mirror Master or 3rd or however many for each one of the 4 Flash. It's just gonna be ridiculous. Um, I would like to know what they're gonna do with Bart, but I don't think that's gonna be resolved in the Flash. I don't think they're gonna if they bring him in as a Flash. Let me know in the channel comments if they bring in the Living Speed Force. Let me know again in the comments. I might pick up those issues, but at the same time, Jay Garrick gets more attention on the Justice Society cover than he does as a Flash on the Flash cover. Yeah. If any of those things happen, if they bring in Jay's story, let me know and I might pick it up. But until then, I won't be picking up the next Flash. So, I hope this review made sense. I've been Bob. This has been The Other World according to Bob. Bob out.